To a happy Thursday. That's right. I'm Jeff DeVer with Rackspace Technology, and it's time for a little Rackspace Live. That's right. Welcome back to a Thursday. Thursdays are among my favorite days, in case you were wondering. But I do want to welcome you to a Rackspace Live. Those of you who are with us here today, and you know the drill. Whether it's Cloud Talk Live, whether it is Rackspace Live, we want to hear from you. This is an interactive program, and would love for you to be a part of it. So feel free to introduce yourself in the comments there, down below, on the side, up above. I don't know where you're watching me, but say hi. Tell me who you are. Tell me where you are. And if you want to get a hold of us, of course, you can do that over at solve@rackspace.com. That'll come to the whole production team. You got producer Daniel, you got Megan, everybody's watching for your emails, so just go ahead and give us one. So I'm coming to you live here from, hey Micah, I'm coming live to you from the Rackspace Castle. It's been a busy week around here. We've had presentations with our analysts. We have had... we did amazing. Were you at the Cloud Talk Live on Tuesday? That was really great with Nikki Robinson. If you haven't, you want to go back and watch that one. We'll have a clip coming out on that here shortly in the next day or two once Benjamin gets that sucker edited. But today, our topic is going to delve into all things backup for Microsoft 365. Before we get too far down the road there, I did want to, I want to push a few buttons over here and talk to you a little bit about a news article that I read, and it was published just the other day on a good old Halloween, and it was talking about cloud migration strategy, 10 mistakes to avoid. Now, hey, Michael, you've really got to, we got to send you a T-shirt or something. You're here all the time. I love it. You're our fan, our number one fan. These 10 mistakes to avoid, there are a lot of things in there that you would expect to see. Make sure you understand what's going to the cloud. Make sure that you're not trying to send something old that won't work out there. Make sure that your whole organization is ready to move along with that whole change, because the change brings so much uncertainty in a lot of cases to your organization. And one of the items that was in there that of course is super important, and a lot of times people don't think about because you think the cloud's just going to make it all better, and that is ensuring that your workloads inside of the cloud are resilient. And by resilient, we mean we want to make sure that, first of all, that they're very functional, that we architect and build these in a way that there's some fault tolerance inside of there. But also, fault tolerance is nothing for your application if your data, one, isn't as available as it can be, and that two, that you have got quality backups to be able to pull from should there be any sort of an issue. What kind of an issue, you might ask? Well, it could be anything. You could have a DBA monkeying around in your database and break things in a very bad way. You could have somebody accidentally delete it. You could have a ransomware situation. All of these drive the importance of having great backups. Now, to dig into that just a little bit more, specifically in and around Microsoft 365, I've invited a pretty brilliant racker to be a part of this first segment, because I want to unpack and understand what's available from Microsoft in the form of backup of our Microsoft 365 assets. So let's bring Jeff Lizerbaum up onto here. Jeff is a racker. He's been running around here for a while. He's helping our customers out in great ways. Jeff, welcome to Rackspace Live.
Thank you very much, Jeff. Glad to be here.
Glad you are here. So where in the world are you? Let's introduce, we're all friends here. Where in the world are you coming in from?
I've come from San Diego, California, and I'm one of the solutions architects here with Microsoft 365, particularly in productivity.
Okay.
Yeah.
Perfect. So San Diego, so weather is terrible as all per normal.
Actually, today it is.
Oh, really? That was actually a joke. The joke kind of sort of failed right here. But let's talk for a second about in and around productivity, our Exchange, our SharePoint, things around those lines, Teams assets. Tell me about the backup. Are they resilient? Are they always there? I know there's a recycle bin that things fall into if I need to go grab them, but how far does that go?
Yes, yeah. So inherently, when moving to Microsoft 365 or within that ecosystem, there's going to be some inherent data retention in there, but it only goes to a certain degree.
Mm.
And there's three main areas that we always like to talk about with our customers. There's Exchange, your mailbox environment. There's OneDrive for Business, which is the per user
Yes.
storage of documents. and SharePoint Online. And extending from there is Teams and channels and things like that. But in terms of retaining the data, Exchange, for example, will retain the data for as long as that user is around. But when a
Okay.
user leaves or the user is removed from the environment, what happens is that data goes into a recycle bin. And today, the limitation is 30 days. We always like to put a 30-day magical time frame around that.
Everything
OneDrive
can be
for
solved in 30 days, right?
exactly,
We're going to
exactly.
realize we needed that data immediately.
Exactly. And likewise, OneDrive for Business, which is very user associated, if that user account disappears, sure, the data will be there, but only for about a 30-day limitation.
Okay.
And SharePoint has a little bit of a difference in its retention. 93 days is always that magical
93.
number there.
Because that makes sense,
It
93.
does. Yeah, because there's recycle bins, there's dumpsters, there's things within the environment to help maintain that data for a time period.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
our customers always say, "I thought that was my backup."
Well, and that speaks to the fact that there's a process for it. We've got recycle bins, dumpsters. I don't know what else is there, but things that cascade. But eventually, it's going to go away, and it's all part of the general process. And I mentioned the scenario before. Should there be an issue with ransomware? I mean, that's going to infect the whole thing. And I think what you're telling me here is, unless it's something they deleted a whole bunch of stuff before ransomware came in, it, there's no solution there.
That's correct. Yeah, it can put customers into a bind if they don't have a proper backup solution along with the 365 solution. So we always like to educate them, first of all, on the retention that is inherent with the product. And sure, there are some advanced licensing that you can do some wonderful things to extend, the retention for that, but it can get pretty costly. So quite often these products that help enhance the backup solutions is really a
Yeah.
good way to go and cost effective.
Nice. All right, Jeff. Well, you've painted a very painful picture. The fact that there isn't something there and it's going to take a third party. It's a good thing I've got a third party here to talk to about how Rackspace is able to help solve for that. So, Jeff, I'm going to let you get back to your terrible weather and helping customers, architect customers for solutions. And I want to actually turn our attention to one of those solutions. So, Jeff, thanks for joining in today. He had a busy day, and I thought, we needed another racker in here. But I've got a friend with me, and I want to introduce to you. That's the wrong button to push. I want to introduce to you. Come on, you can do it, computer. Um, there we go. Now we're cooking. I want to introduce to you Dwight Foster. Dwight comes with a company called Skykick, and Skykick is a Rackspace partner. And we don't actually have to bring him in from some faraway place because he's been standing right over there this entire time. Come on into frame, friend.
Hey, everybody. Nice
Hey.
to see you. Jeff, thanks for having me.
Absolutely. So we don't normally get to, in fact, rarely have I had somebody stand behind the desk with me and get to talk about the solutions here. But we were just talking to Jeff, and Jeff was talking about, not me in the third person, but Jeff Lizerbaum, about the challenge of the fact that there really are no native Microsoft 365 backups. And that's sort of your space.
Yeah, it's interesting. We're finding more and more awareness, but in general, end users, end customers are quite surprised when they find out that Microsoft does not provide backup.
Right.
And we've worked very closely with Rackspace over the last year, and we've recently launched a cloud-to-cloud, live in minutes, unlimited storage solution that backs up Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive groups, and Teams, and costs about a cheap cup of coffee
Really?
per user per month. Yeah.
Incredible. Now let's talk about that solution. So you mentioned, you said a whole bunch of stats right there. First one that caught my attention was unlimited storage.
Yes.
Because that's always the first concern when we think about backups is, especially in an Exchange world, in a file-based world, that can really be a lot.
Yep. Yeah, no, it's unlimited with no asterisk, right?
Okay.
It is truly unlimited. Now, we do have the ability for folks, let's say for compliance reasons, maybe insurance companies, others that may need to delete it after a year or 5 years or 7 years. You do have the ability to delete it, but I would say probably 95% of our customers just keep it forever because you never know. It may be 5 years, it may be 10 years,
Right.
it may be longer.
It's a great distinction, the fact that it can be there forever, but you can put time-based holds, legal holds, these sorts of things, to make sure that the data you wrote down in your documentation that's going to go away actually does go away.
Yep. Yeah, and one of the other interesting things that a lot of other people don't realize is within the Microsoft Services Agreement, which every Office 365 or Microsoft 365 user agrees to.
Yeah.
In paragraph 6, subsection B, it specifically calls out, Microsoft specifically tells the end customers, hey, we're not backing up your data.
Yeah.
You should be having a third party backup vendor protect your data.
Yeah.
So when we share that with end customers, they are generally feeling some urgency to get that box checked.
But it's interesting how much, I'll call it, we live in a world of trying to figure out misinformation, disinformation, but I think we can just talk about it of just not being educated.
Yep.
Because I even have somebody, Isaac here is saying, doesn't Microsoft Azure have a disaster recovery in place on the cloud? And, can Azure do backups? Of course they can. Can they make, copies of files in Azure? Of course they can. But what we're talking about here is the Microsoft 365 footprint.
Yeah, and also, we're a 100% Microsoft shop. We've been around for about 12 years now, and we've got hundreds of thousands of mailbox under backup. But really, at the end of the day, when you have whether it's an accidental or an intentional deletion or an issue with ransomware, there's the concept of coming into our console and doing a point-and-click restore, which may take you 5 minutes or 10 minutes, or calling Microsoft and going through a very difficult, perhaps expensive, long process, and at the end you may not even be able to get your solution, particularly in the case of ransomware. So, Rackspace is selling the solution for about $290 per user per month, and that's unlimited consumption.
Cost of a cup of coffee. Well, it used to be. I can't.
Yes.
No,
Yes,
it cost me $5 a cup of coffee, and that's
Yes.
black coffee.
Yes, exactly. So it's we call it life insurance for your business, right? In particular, with those accidental, intentional deletions, those are somewhat more of a nuisance. But with ransomware, the idea of going into a cloud-based portal and doing your restore versus sending some Bitcoin to Riga, it's a great alternative.
That's awesome. Hey, Teresa Cortez is here. I think she helped get you guys
Oh,
all
Teresa.
up and going. So we love Teresa. She's gone on to not so greener pastures.
Yes,
but
she
we still
left
like
us.
you anyway. So I think even what Isaac was saying in his comment is the fact that backup, we like to think, is one of those things, we think about IT used to live in that little building somewhere else, and they would just take care of things, and stuff would just happen. But as we move to these as-a-service offerings, it's important to make sure that we match up what comes natively with those services and what our business expectations are.
Yep.
And in the case of 365, they're actually recommending that companies go and get a service like this.
Yep. Yeah, and I think it's all about fail to plan, plan to fail, right? For many people, they may go unprotected and never have an issue, right?
Yeah.
But, as a father of 4, I have life insurance for a very specific reason, right? It's not that it's going to happen in the interim, but it's protecting against the event of it happening. And I think that's really how we look at cloud backup. We like to make it really easy for people to deploy, low cost, no hardware, unlimited consumption, just KISS principle all the way, and make it affordable. That way people can check that box and go about doing their business and not having to worry about these issues.
Cool. Let's cover a couple of other key elements that I think from a technical standpoint that's important. So you mentioned that it can be in place in just minutes.
Yes.
What does the activation look like? And it's a two-parter question.
Yep.
First of all, does this have to happen when the tenant is instantiated, or can it happen at any point after the fact?
Well, so that's a big word. Instantiated, you mean Microsoft 365 is live.
Well, when I'm buying my 365 and I'm going to go get my tenant, do I have to do this at the very beginning, or can I do it at any time?
You can do it at the beginning, or you can do it at any time.
Okay, super flexible.
So it's super flexible. So the process basically is, there's a couple of different ways to order it, but in a very simplified fashion, you and the salesperson, as the end customer, would go to a specific portal. You would enter your global admin credentials.
Yeah.
And a window would pop from Microsoft where they basically say, you, Mr. End Customer, are about to give this application access to your tenant to back up these workloads.
Got it.
You click on accept. Our tool will go out and discover all of the objects on that tenant, confirms with the customer that's what they want to back up. They click enter or accept, and then it's live running its first backup. So generally, once you get to that web-based interface, it's about 3 minutes to place that order. And then depending generally on the amount of SharePoint data that's in that tenant, it's probably going to take us anywhere from 2 to 24 hours to do our first backup suite.
All right. All right, so just a couple of minutes to get it activated. Call it 24 hours, depending on size, to get that full sweep of the environment taken care of. Can happen anytime, super flexible. Now, another thing to think about is, I love the ease of use of it. Now,
Yep.
who can do a restore? Like if somebody comes to Rackspace and they've got their 365 with us and they say, Rackspace, add this on. I need the life insurance.
Yep.
But are they calling a service partner, or are they actually doing it themselves?
Yeah, so there's both options are available.
Okay.
Let's say if it was a managed service, you might have that end customer contact somebody at Rackspace to
Yeah.
do the restore. General best practice is that we can push out administrative capabilities to
Yeah.
the end customer, provided they're comfortable with that, and they can log into the portal and do a very easy search and restore. It basically mirrors what you're going to see inside of Office 365. So you can back up the entire tenant, you can back up an individual mailbox, an individual folder, or an individual item, and it's going to go right back to where it came from.
Right back where it came from. None of
Yes.
this set aside kind of thing.
No.
No one's going to be coming in and swiping your data.
No.
So we're not creating
A security risk.
security issue. That's right.
Yes.
Now, one of the things that when we talked about a month ago, we were talking about the service a little bit.
Yep.
Is these backups aren't even leaving the general Microsoft cloud, are they?
No.
They're being stored in Azure.
Yep, we've got, I think it's 19 different Azure data centers around the globe where
Okay.
our customers can choose to store the data. In addition, if they have their own Azure data center, at
Yeah.
order, they can put those credentials in and we can store the data in their data center, though there will be consumption charges associated with that. So
Yeah.
again, probably 98% of our customers will put it into our Azure data center
Okay.
and take advantage of the all-you-can-eat.
So all you can eat.
storage
So
option.
so it's literally just all you can eat, not all you can eat plus storage.
It's all-you-can-eat. There's no
I
asterisk.
really am trying to find a way around this, that it's
Well-
not just all you can eat.
Yes, I know that. How do you I'm a salesperson, right? So how do you know I'm lying because my lips are moving, right? But I will tell you, there's no asterisk. It's totally unlimited, which is really interesting, right? Because when you start to think about end customers and perhaps leveraging OneDrive
Yeah.
for some of their data redundancy, the idea that you could put lots of data in there and have it basically double backed up starts to become pretty attractive.
Yeah.
So it's really a great solution.
Hey, so Isaac asked an interesting question. He says, so does the backup also replicate live changes? And let me just kind of dig that out. I think the real question is, how often are the backups happening,
Yep.
and can I adjust that frequency?
You cannot adjust that frequency, but we do backups roughly every 4 hours.
Okay.
Right, so we do six, 24. We
Yeah.
do six.
Basic math is hard.
Yes, it
Yeah.
is. Well, especially
Except when
when
we're calculating commission, right? If it's
Especially
a
when I
sales thing.
can't use my hands.
Yeah.
So we do roughly 6 backups per day, and depending upon the amount of data that's in there, let's say somebody uploads a bunch of SharePoint data and Microsoft may be doing some throttling
Yeah.
on us pulling that data down, you may get 5 backups per day. But generally it's going to be 5 or 6 backups per day for each workload, Exchange, SharePoint, OneDrive, groups, and teams.
Sheesh. It's covering everything.
Yes.
Okay. I can't figure a way of why this is a bad idea.
It's a great idea.
It's a great idea. Now, let's go back for a second on the all you can eat. I'm tired of trying to figure out if it's not just all you can eat. But you did say that if I want that to go into my tenant,
Yep.
it can go into my tenant.
Yes.
But there will be my own data consumption charges.
Yes. So no additional charges from us, but
Yeah.
you would get those data consumption charges from Azure.
But this may be really important to your organization when you want complete control of that data. Think, well, maybe it's your healthcare organization,
Yep.
financial services, just not paranoid, sorry. You really just want to control your data.
Yep.
It can be done,
Yep.
but you will pay a nominal amount because storage is not that expensive.
Yes, exactly.
But, so let me ask you this question. I should have asked you this before. So when I shove all that data into your tenant,
Yep.
now I'm going to restore.
Yep.
Do I have bandwidth fees coming from your tenant to my tenant?
No.
Dang, it's not. It is all you can eat.
It is all you
Even
can
on the
eat.
restore.
It's all you can eat.
I really thought I was going to stump him on that one, folks.
It's like a Manchurian barbecue, right? Like it is all you can eat.
Yeah, we scheduled this at lunchtime too, and he's bringing up food topics. So awesome. So this is a service that is available from Rackspace. We pair it with our Microsoft 365 offerings, the Teams, the Office 365, and all the things that includes. So it's a really easy checkbox to add with every single mailbox that you've got. If you're a Rackspace customer and you don't have this, I encourage you, reach out to us today. Let's get that added. And if you're thinking about how you can be as secure as possible, well, you can't get better service than if you come to Rackspace, and especially when you have partners like what we have with Skykick to be able to ensure that your data is backed up. Anything else you want to add? Did we cover it all?
Oh, it's been great. I've very much enjoyed you having me and enjoyed talking to everyone, and we look forward to
All right.
getting that box checked for everybody and get everybody safe and secure.
There you go. So Dwight, all you can eat Foster has been a part of the program today. Thank you so much. And everyone, thank you for taking a few minutes over your lunch break if you're in Central Time. And I hope you have a great rest of your afternoon. Know that we're back here on Tuesday with our next Cloud Talk Live. Folks, we've got some of our architects and our CTO going to share with you our predictions for 2023. We will see you then. Where's my music? There it is.